Welcome to What Would You Choose? Your daily dose of fun choices. Camel versus llama. Which one lives in deserts? The answer is camel. Grapes versus pineapple. Which one grows in clusters? The answer is grapes. Orangutan versus gorilla. Which one has longer arms? The answer is orangutan. Mount Everest versus Sahara. Desert. Which one is the highest point on Earth? The answer is Mount Everest. Skunk versus badger. Which one sprays a foul smell? The answer is skunk. Broccoli versus corn. Which one is green? The answer is broccoli. Maldives versus Himalayas. Which one is made of islands? The answer is Maldives. Swan versus duck. Which one has a longer neck? The answer is swan. Peach versus lemon. Which one is fuzzy on the outside? The answer is peach. Tortoise versus crocodile. Which one moves slower on land? The answer is tortoise. Neuschwanstein Castle versus Statue of Liberty. Which one is in Germany? The answer is Neuschwanstein Castle. Kiwi versus banana. Which one has brown fuzzy skin? The answer is kiwi. Chameleon versus snake. Which one can change its skin color? The answer is chameleon. Gobi Desert versus Mount Fuji. Which one is a desert? The answer is Gobi Desert. Honey versus salt. Which one is made by bees? The answer is honey. Otter versus mouse. Which one lives in water? The answer is otter. Golden Gate Bridge versus Eiffel Tower. Which one is in San Francisco? The answer is Golden Gate Bridge. Potato versus eggplant. Which one grows underground? The answer is potato. Butterfly versus ladybug. Which one has large, colourful wings? The answer is butterfly. Himeji Castle versus Blue Mosque. Which one is in Japan? The answer is Himeji Castle. Cranberry versus strawberry. Which one is smaller? The answer is cranberry. Bald eagle versus parrot. Which one is the national bird of the USA? The answer is bald eagle. Bora Bora versus Mount Kilimanjaro. Which one is in the ocean? The answer is Bora Bora. Mango versus green apple. Which one has a large central seed? The answer is mango. Hedgehog versus rat. Which one has spines? The answer is hedgehog. Bondi Beach versus Mount Etna. Which one is in Australia? The answer is Bondi Beach. Lettuce versus cucumber. Which one is leafy? The answer is lettuce. Scorpion versus crab. Which one lives in deserts? The answer is scorpion. Atacama Desert versus Yellowstone Park. Which one is drier? The answer is Atacama Desert. Sweet potato versus peanut. Which one grows underground as a tuber? The answer is sweet potato. Barn owl versus penguin. Which one can fly? The answer is barn owl. Forbidden City versus Statue of Liberty. Which one is in China? The answer is Forbidden City. Pear versus melon. Which one is smaller? The answer is pear. Alpaca versus ram. Which one is used for soft wool? The answer is alpaca. Copacabana Beach versus Alps. Which one is in Brazil? The answer is Copacabana Beach. Mushroom versus carrot. Which one is a fungus? The answer is mushroom. Peacock versus flamingo. Which one has a colourful fantail? The answer is peacock. Mojave Desert versus Yosemite. Which one is a desert? The answer is Mojave Desert. Mount Kilimanjaro versus Maldives. Which one is an island? The answer is Maldives. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe Seendal Kids for more Would You Rather quizzes likes that.